What's up, party people? Welcome to the first edition of SOFAHOOPS Radio, live from the couch. It's Tawdry Beast and Ilee Coleman.
Hey.
Decided to share our insights with the world, since the other dudes out there that be doing it for paper don't seem to really be doing it that great. Figure we might as well get our 2 cents in, and you can count on the fact that we are not supported in any way by the NBA or anything, so we're not going to Stephen A. Smith up the joint and talk about like stuff because we being taken care of or nothing like that. We just tell you how we see it as actual basketball fans who grew up playing the game and we watch the game regularly. So what we decided to do, we're going to do a little mid-season review of all the teams, and we're going to start off our first team after watching them play last night. We're going to do our mid-season review on the Cavaliers and talk about what we think they can do going into the break and before the trade deadline, and what we feel as though they deserve in terms of a grade so far. So I'm gonna let Ilee kick it off. Let's talk. Let's talk Cavaliers. What's your feelings about the Cavs as they currently stand?
The Cavs are just lucky. To me, the Cavs are lucky that they're in the Eastern Conference because you put them on the West, man. I think they are mediocre at best team. They do a lot of stuff that we've seen already, and what I mean by that is we've seen Cleveland go around the first time with the same type of hojo mojo. Just better players this time, but the same inconsistency or the same what the hell are they doing type deal. They don't run any real type of set offense. I think a lot of it is predicated on LeBron James having to make a play or just improvisation. They got quote unquote playmakers, scorers. I like Kyrie Irving. He's one of my favorite players in the league. It's odd to me that LeBron James is, one of the biggest dudes on the team, and he's on the perimeter more than he is in the paint. I mean, I don't know, man. I got to throw it back to you, man, because I just...
Well, I'm going to start there. I'm going to start there with your favorite player, one of your favorite players in the league. I think that Kyrie Irving, he's not washed, but he's just short of washed. And what I mean is, he's a typical Duke player. They either end up being mediocre or injury-prone to death. And he's following that same Duke, prototype. That's the Duke, shall I say, the Duke archetype, is that they're either injured all the time or they're mediocre. And I was watching him play last night, and, he's supposed to be facilitating and doing all these different things, and I get that he's more of a scorer than a true point guard. I got all that. But, first thing I learned growing up playing basketball, you got to stay in front of your man. I ain't saying you got to be first team All-American defender, but you got to stay in front of your man. And Tony Parker, who's practically decrepit at this point, he just blowing past you, getting into the paint and making you look silly out there. And the dude got at least 10 to 15 years on you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't let that happen. And then you're gonna come out last play of the game. They're looking like all out of sorts, and they don't really know what they're running, and they end up an air ball from Kyrie to close out a game that they was in. They could have been in that game, but they don't have nothing that they run. I mean, their whole offense is predicated on LeBron patting the ball and making stuff up as he goes, and I just think that's been effective for 2 rings with asterisks, in my opinion, next to him. But you're going to have to run something in these critical moments. You have to know what you're doing out there. And it just seems like every time I watch them play, when it comes down to crunch time on LeBron-based teams, if it's not a miracle, then they ain't going to win. Because they have no plays. They have nothing they're trying to do. You got a 6'8", 260-pound dude constantly trying to be some kind of hybrid, weirdo point guard because everybody keeps telling him that he's dope at that. And I got to be honest with you, as a dude who played guard most of his life, I can't stand them kind of dudes, man. I don't need you out there patting the ball, man. I got that. I need you cutting to the basket or posting up. And I know that you're supposed to be the best player in the world, but, you know, at a certain point, I need you to take advantage of what you get. And what he gets is he gets easy calls. They put him on the free throw line every 5 seconds, right? Even though he's only 70% or something like that. But they put him on the line. And then, you know, he's not moving without the ball. If he don't have the ball, he don't know what to do. He goes stand in the corner. It's like he's been in the game too long to be that unclear about how to play without the ball. The same way he's been in the game too long to be that unclear about his post-up game. And I think those are the problems that plague the Cavaliers from my perspective, is that when you get right down to it, they may get through the East. And I don't know, some of these Eastern teams are starting to play okay. They may get through the East, but they haven't really separated themselves from a lot of the teams in the East. Like, you know, hands down, they're the best in the East. It's not really like that. So what's going to happen when you got to go against a Thunder team or a Warriors team or a Spurs team, you know, that they do what they do pretty hard.
Regardless of what you do.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
He does, I think, you know, they need to, the problem that you're seeing with the Cavs, I think, one is the makeup of the team. You know, it's almost like an all-star game. You put a lot of these guys. So, you know, what kills me is when people say that he has no help. He has a bunch of help. A bunch of help. It's just that they're not utilizing it right because of the way he plays. And I know it sounds funny. Everybody says, oh, LeBron is a playmaker. He gets everybody involved, blah, 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 blah. Well, no, if you patting the ball, then that means for a lot of times J.R. Smith is not effective because he's a rhythmic player. You patting the ball takes Kyrie out of it because he's a rhythmic player. You patting the ball and throwing the Kevin Love every 14th time down the court, he's a, you know, the only person that benefits from all of that is my man, Lazy Eye, Tristan Thompson. You know,
Tristan Thompson.
Yeah. Because some of their bad shooting, El Loco is able to run in there and he's the one dude that is consistently on the offensive rebound and getting put back.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the most underutilized dudes on the team, it might shock you, but for me, like one of the most underutilized dudes on the team is Mozgov. You got a 7'1" dude weighing in at about 275. The fact that y'all can't come up with some kind of consistent thing y'all do to get him the ball on the block, he's shown that he has a reasonable low post game. But if you're not getting no touches, and it's like an afterthought to get the big man touches, what's he working for? Like, what's he working for? Like, you got to reward people.
He always plays hard at the time. You know what I mean? You got Richie Jefferson over there, who's a serviceable player. You got J.R. Smith. You got D-Mark Shumpert. Like, listen, realistically, they go 10 to 12 deep on people who actually play, who can actually see the floor and play. Black wasn't prepared for this. Black was coming over there with his little playbook from overseas. They were going to run their little thing, you know, and he was going to sort of get acclimated to the league. And he's in the same position, I wouldn't say the same position, but he's in a position that kind of Spencer was in. You know what I mean? Like, you got a new coach coming in that want to, you know, is learning on the fly, basically. And you got this dude coming over there now, the expectations, the lights are brighter and everything because he's there. And you have to, it's not even a question of whether or not you have to cater to him. You have to cater to him. I see this as LeBron being in a no-lose situation because if he wins, he's a god. He's already a god for coming back to Cleveland and mending no
Yeah, if he wins, he's a god. If he loses, it's the team and David Blatt's fault. And that's been the story of his career, though, for me.
You know, so I who's in the hot in the coveted spot right now, not coveted, and who's in a no lose situation is LeBron.
Yeah.
You can't lose either way, but you know, I just think that they do the same things that they've done in Miami. You know, a lot of improvisation on his part. You know, could they do some things different? Yeah. Do I think Black could be a decent coach? Yeah, but he's not going to get a chance because anything he draws up, LeBron could go, yeah, whatever, and wipe it off, get out there and be like, listen, don't listen to coach, do what I say. And them dudes are going to listen to what he says, man. You know, because everybody's pushing that he's the greatest, he's the student of the game, he's the know-it-all, and he's listen, man, if that was the case, then you wouldn't be, 2 out of 6 in the finals. You know what I mean?
And if that was the case, you wouldn't be blowing basic coverages.
Yeah, I think he's one of the greatest players in the game right now. That goes without question. But does he have flaws in his game? Yeah, he has flaws in his game. But
yeah, I'm gonna take it a step further and say he has a lot of flaws in his game that nobody wants to talk about. That's just me being a basketball fan for a lot of years, and all y'all can write me. I know y'all think I'm a hater. I'm a hater of y'all who be putting him on a pedestal. That's what I'm a hater of. Like, I see all the potential in the world for LeBron to be a really good player. But as long as he's standing on the perimeter patting the ball all night, you're scared to cut to the basket and scared to play without the ball, you're scared to go down and post up at 6'8" and 260, he's always going to be kind of corny and mediocre to me. And when he does stuff like, bust his head on a camera trying to sell a foul, or when he does stuff like,
that's kind of funny.
Says that he's the greatest player in the world and all this stuff, he makes you not really like him. Like one of my friends hollered at me the other day. He's like, yo, you really hate LeBron? I was like, yo, he does a lot of good things for the community and all that. I'm going to tell you straight up. I don't really care what you do for the community of Cleveland. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how you play basketball. And in my opinion, you like, a dude who probably should be playing power forward in today's league, who's too scared to play power forward and always standing around in the perimeter patting the ball because you're such a good passer. Well, be a good passer from the post. How about that? How about you go use your strength and the fact that you get every call under the sun to score into the basket? But that's too much work. What?
Love, man. He got Kevin Love to go play power forward.
Whatever, man. This dude is one of the biggest, strongest people on his team. He don't never want to get in there and really mix it up, man. And that's part of his problem. And he'll try for little brief spurts to call himself doing his post-up game. Let me not even get on how weak his footwork is still after all these years. Like, some of the weakest footwork in the game. I ain't saying it's got to be Paul Pierce or Kobe Bryant, but for your footwork to still be as weak as it is right now, you're standing out, shuffling your feet on your back downs and not really knowing how to comport your body on the turnaround hook and all this stuff. It's like you look crazy out there after all these years in the league, and that's your size.
Yeah, barring injury, they should be in the Eastern Conference Finals. I won't exalt them to the finals yet because I think it's some teams that are, you catch them right, man. Like Toronto, that's a team, man, that could slide in there, man, and beat you.
Oh yeah. I think there's a few teams that can mess around and beat them because of what I said. Like, they're not running nothing out there. They don't have no real, real thing that they do. The Heat can mess around and beat them. You know what I mean? The Heat can mess around and beat them. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the Celtics can mess around and beat them after last year's series. Like, the Celtics got a chip on their shoulder about them dudes, and they play like dudes with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I just think that the thing that's going to be big, as always, is how the ref's going to be calling the game. Because if the refs, as LeBron jumps in the face of the refs and he doesn't get any checks or anything like that, if the refs start making the calls in his favor, then everybody gets in foul trouble. And, what amazes me is the fact that he comes out of the game. I mean, actually, they've been calling fouls on him lately, man, but any given time.
Compared to his first X amount of years in the league.
This is the one thing I want to know. And now tell me, maybe it's me, But, yo, why they don't never call that stiff arm when somebody's gone and he wants to go around him and he busts him in the throat or something like that? Because I know that RJ Iguodala, and just watching the other night when Kawhi Leonard was playing him, I'm like, crap, you just going to let him bust him in the throat?
Oh, they don't call nothing that dude, man. This dude uses his off arm like a battering ram all night long, and they won't call it. So, that's like the call thing with him. I'm over it. I already got that. That's never really going to happen with this dude. So, he's going to get calls, and he can yell at the refs all night without getting a tech and all that stuff because that's his thing. Anyways, I can go on all day about what's wrong with the Cavs. What's right with the Cavs is they got a lot of decent players. They got, like, the most deep role player team in the world, and they in the East. That's their upside. They still don't got no offense that I can really make out, and they still don't have no real game plan for shit that I can really make out. And they still losing big games that they're supposed to win. Like they needed that game against the Spurs last night.
They can't beat the Spurs, man. They can't beat the Spurs.
They needed regardless. So they needed that game against the Spurs, and they needed that game against the Warriors earlier this year, and they didn't get either one of those games. And that's the kind of games that show you they still ain't quite ready for prime time, and LeBron still can't close out games. That thing last night was embarrassing, man. It was embarrassing. The fact that they was in the game and they come out, they had nothing to do.
Yeah, I think, remember the look on his face when he lost in Miami, when they played the Spurs?
Mm-hmm.
He has, for all the things that he do and all his athleticism and everything like that, he has problems with teams that pass the ball well. That's why he has problems with, the Warriors do what they do, but the one thing they do is they keep the ball moving. And when that ball is moving, they have problems with that type of team. The Spurs, the Warriors, and sometimes Atlanta, depending on how Atlanta's playing. But
because I'm going to go back to another one of my gripes about the great LeBron James is this so often, he's losing track of his man. He's not paying attention on the defensive end. His man's open, and when they start moving the ball, he's like a spinning top out there. He's spinning around lost. Between him and Kyrie Irving, there's a lot of times where they drop the ball on defense so ill, where it's like nobody says nothing about it. But I watch all the game, not just LeBron got the flashy dunk. That don't mean nothing. I'm talking about, does he play both ends of the floor all night long like he needs it? And the answer is not really. Not really.
Yeah.
And he's still, after all these years, and y'all can keep saying, he's coming up there. No, he still shrinks in big moments. Even a simple thing like last night against the Spurs, he's going to shrink at the end of the game, and they do some kind of botched play, and Kyrie shooting an air ball three. It's like, what y'all doing?
They, all with that said, though, I think they will be in the Eastern Conference Finals just because, they're not going to, it's going to be tough to beat any team in the East to beat them 4 straight. I'm not 4 straight, but they're 4 games in the series. They just got I just seen something where they're talking about signing Marquise Morris.
Oh yeah, more players for LeBron, so he can, have all the players in the world. Anyway, my grade for them, based on the fact that they're in the East, my overall grade for them is a B-. And that's being generous, because it should be a C+. But I'm just gonna give them the Benny of the Denny and say B-, because they're in the East.
Yeah, I think I'll give them a B. I'll give them a B. And I say that because just because I'm a little bit more generous than you.
All right. Well, there it is. That's my grade for the Cavaliers after we ragged on them. Keep it full disclosure, neither one of us are really Cleveland Cavalier fans, so take it however you want to take it. But, y'all Cleveland Cavalier fans, you want to holler at us and talk about it, hit me at tawdrybeast@gmail.com. Hit Ilee at info@ileecoleman.com. Check our websites, whatever. Until the next episode, peace.
Bye.